So, okay, recording has started. Let's start. All right. So, we are discussing beyond financial reporting today, which happens to be chapter 5 of your study pack. So, under beyond financial reporting, there are three concepts that we shall be reviewing. The first one is a corporate social responsibility. Corporate social responsibility. That's CSR. And the next one is a sustainability reporting. That's the sustainability reporting. And the third one is integrated reporting. So those are the three concepts that I will be explaining to you. So we should be done in about 30 minutes or thereabouts. Okay. All right. So let's start with the first one, which is corporate social responsibility. So that's the first theory that we want to discuss now. So I think we've discussed something like this before, whereby I explain corporate social responsibility as a way in which the company gives back to the society. Is a way in which company give back to the society. So basically, the objective of every company is not to give out money to people. It's not to do Father Christmas, right? Companies are not set up to start doing charity work. Companies are set up basically to generate revenue and also generate profit, and that profit can now be used to pay the shareholders in form of dividend and also for capital growth. All right. So that is when you are reinvesting your profit back. So that is the main reason why every company is established. So they are established to maximize profit. So CSR, basically, no company is set up solely for the purpose of distributing money, except maybe an NGO, which is another story entirely. But every corporate organizations are set up basically to generate revenue, that is pay dividend to the shareholders, maximize profit, that is for business expansion. So that is the main reason why company were established. However, recently, the subject of CSR has become something that is now widely accepted or globally, right? Which means that if you are operating in a particular environment, you should be able to contribute towards the growth of the environment in which you operate. So the process of you trying to give back to the society, try to contribute towards to the growth of the environment that you operate, that is exactly what is referred to as a CSR. So CSR simply means corporate social responsibility. So this is a way in which company give back to the society. So let's look at the definition of CSR. Yeah. So corporate social responsibility is a term for the responsibility that the company should have towards society and the environment in which it operates. Please note that it is not compulsory that you must do CSR. However, ethically, it is necessary. I won't use the word compulsory, but we use the word necessary. For example, if you operate in a place whereby you are into an oil and gas company, and what you are doing in the community, you are just extracting crude oil from their soil. So the price of you extracting crude oil, there is every tendency that you are also causing some damages. So to compensate those community where you operate, there is need for you to give back to the community. So that is exactly what CSR is meant for. It's not something that is compulsory, but it is necessary just to ensure that you have a cordial relationship with your host community. So CSR has been defined in various ways. So let's look at the two major definition of CSR. So it is a concept whereby company integrates social and environmental concern in their business operation and their interaction with their stakeholder on a voluntary basis. So just take note that CSR is not compulsory, it is voluntary. However, it is also necessary, because if you keep giving back to the society, there is every tendency that directly or indirectly, you also will generate some form of benefit from those entities that you are giving back to. Okay. All right. So that is basically what CSR is meant for. So CSR is just a way of giving back to the society. However, so there are some scope of CSR. Please note that it is not compulsory that CSR must be in the monetary term. So it's not that you have to give out cash. So there are various ways that you can also contribute to CSR other than giving out cash. So I can ask you this type of question, that you should list out scope of CSR. So don't just think CSR is about giving out money. There are many forms of CSR, so they can ask you, this is a very likely question. So the first way of doing CSR is ethical behavior by a company and its employees. So if you operate your company if you operate in an ethical manner alone, is part of your CSR. Okay, business ethics, make sure you treat your employee well. You operate in line with the best standard. You don't compromise. So that's part of it. Then the treatment of employee by the entity. How you treat your employees also matter a lot too. So those one can also be in form of an indirect CSR. Treatment of human beings generally, for example, respect for women, right? Refusing to use supplier who employ slave trade. So if you are doing all this kind of stuff, like if you have respect for human beings too, if any suppliers is violating any law of the land, you blacklist those suppliers. So those are indirect ways of what CSR, other than giving out direct cash. Okay. Then it also involves relationship that you have with the societies at large. For example, some banks like GTB, there was a time that GTB used to organize Principal Corp, which comprised of all secondary school in Lagos State. I don't know if they still do that now. So that Principal Corp is their own way of giving back to the society. So in doing that, they are trying to engage the youth, make sure that at least they have some things to keep them together. That is also another one. Then another way of CSR is environmental. That is ability to protect the environment. Okay. If you operate in oil and gas sectors now, and the process of you extracting of your oil, you are messing up the soil. So you can compensate the environment, the community, by providing them a potable water. So with that water now, you are trying to give back to the society because you've messed up their soil. So these are the various ways of CSR. So it's not compulsory that you give out cash for the purpose of CSR. So there are many approach for CSR, right? There are many approach for CSR. So let's look at this possible approach. So CSR issues are not same for each of the company because every companies operate in a different environment. However, for most companies now, they have some issues with CSR. So some companies have some kind of issues with CSR. The first one is that they might ignore the issue regardless of the effect of any bad publicity on the environment. So some companies feel that whether they do CSR or not, so it doesn't concern them. What they are after basically is to generate revenue. So some companies don't even send you at all. If you like public bad news about them, they will not do CSR, right? Some companies don't really bother about CSR. Their own is just to run their business and generate as much revenue as possible. They ignore CSR. So those are some possible issues with some company. Why some companies, so they believe that the moment they comply with laws and regulation, oh, that is their own CSR. They don't care of any other thing. So some people just believe that once they comply with law and regulations, they are fine. They don't need to do any additional CSR again. So that is the belief of some companies. Remember, the first theory states that those that ignore CSR and they don't give a damn about any public reputation. While the second instance is those companies that believe that their own is just to comply with law. However, they don't bother about CSR once they comply with law of the land. Why some companies believe that they might seek to promote active CSR initiative, which will probably involve communicating information about this initiative both to shareholders and the general public. So this third category, there are those that actually do the real CSR. And in the process of doing that CSR, they make a lot of publicity. They invite the press, they invite everybody to show that they are doing CSR. They put it on a newspaper. So these are the three different. So you can say that there are three different school of thought here. The first school of thought believe that CSR they are not responsible and they don't care about any public image such create. Then the second school of thought believe that once they comply with the law of the land, then there is no need for additional CSR. Why the third school of thought are those ones that truly believe in CSR. So reporting requirement now, as per the Company and Allied Matter Act. So if you do any CSR, you are expected to report it in your financial statement. Okay. If you do any CSR, you are expected to report it in your financial statement that, oh, so in so year, this company donated a sum of so amount for charity work or something. So any amount you spent on CSR or any CSR that you do during the year, you are expected to report it in your financial statements as part of your director's report. So that is required. Then also there is something called environmental reports too, which you also need to outline in your financial statement. So environmental report basically is talking about the policy between the entity and the environment that the companies operate. Those are the content that you are supposed to have in your environmental report. So a typical environmental report contains the following. The first one is the entity's policy towards environmental issue. That is, how do you react to environmental issues? So that is required in your environmental report. Then any improvements in previous years, there should be an improvement every year. So you should just highlight any major changes between the previous year and the current year. And also you show an assessment of the risk phase and how the company intends to respond. So those environmental challenges that you face during the year and how you intend to correct them going forward. So you can also highlight them. So I think what I will advise you to do is that please get a copy of audited accounts of any publicly listed entity. You can search for Guinness. Okay, search for any bank. Guinness is manufacturing. Search for Honesto and search for any banks. So all these reports, please read them out in practical terms so that you can understand how all this report looks like. So there are those reports that you found in your financial statement. So the next one is social report. So this social report basically talks about how you treat your employees, right? How you treat your employee. Are you the type that you just use your staff, you don't allow them to go on leave? Okay, so all those ones are required in your social reports. For example, the content of your social reports are the number of employees you have and their involvement, okay? Employee sick leave, health and safety, accident at work. So the policy you have to cover all this. Also, involvement with local charities and community, working groups to communicate with stakeholders. So these are the various things that is expected in your social reports. So those are the things that you need to. So the difference between social report and environmental report is that social reports basically talks more about the individual employee, how you treat your staff. However, the environmental report talks about the relationship between the companies and the immediate environment that it operates. So if you don't do CSR, what are the implications, right? The first one is you are going to have a bad publicities, right? Bad publicities. For example, during NSAS, let me give you a live scenario. During NSAS, one of our showroom was supposed to be attacked by the hoodlums. Guess who protected us? Even police ran away. They could not do anything. It was the area boys, okay, that we used to give money every month. Oh, whenever container is coming, they will collect money before we flow. It was those area boys that actually protected us. They were the one that stood at the gate that, oh, you can't boggle this particular place, or they are our people. Just imagine that we don't take care of those area boys. We could have probably lost so much of us during the NSAT. So those are the implications. If you don't do CSR, then indirectly you will surely lose. So bad publicity is one of the key things that you will likely experience if there is no CSR. So let's leave CSR for now. I said that we are discussing three things. The first one is CSR, the second one is sustainability, and the third one is the integrated reporting. So let's discuss about sustainability reporting. Now, what is sustainability reporting? So sustainability reporting is talking about how you are operating currently. That is, you should be able to convince the shareholders, or INESI should be able to convince the masses that because of the way you are operating now, you are not compromising the needs of future generation. Okay, that is exactly what sustainability is talking about. So because you are operating in an environment doesn't mean you should now condemn, or your operation will now negatively affect the needs of future generation. That is sustainability. So you need to analyze how sustainable your process is, right? For example, those that are into oil and gas, right? You know, there is a level whereby if they keep exploiting oil, it will get to a point whereby they will not be able to exploit oil again. So what they're supposed to do is that land that they've stopped exploiting oil, or they're unable to exploit oil again, they are supposed to restore the land back to how they met it before they move to another location, right? So the process of restoring, the moment they restore the land back, then it will be useful for future generations. So all these things are covered under sustainability. So the cause of sustainability is that organization and individual should meet their own needs today without compromising the needs of future generations. So as you are trying to make your own money now, please don't destroy the environment for future use, right? So you should not compromise the need of future generation just because you are trying to earn your own revenue now or generate your own wealth now. You should not compromise the needs of your of the future generation. So this concept of sustainability require organization and individual to preserve the environment and better serve the society at large. Okay, it's just for them to for example, if you are the one, in fact, all these standards affect those that operate in oil and gas a lot. For example, if you go to a state like Port Harcourt, you will just sleep in your bedroom, okay, after having your bath, right? You have your bath before sleeping. By the time you wake up in the morning, you will just discover that your foot is dark. You will be wondering, where is this coming from? It is basically from the gas that they are flaring. So those kind of practice is very, very bad. Okay, so because all those things have implication on health. Imagine you breathing dust every time, black suit, breathing those things. So it's basically going to affect you in the future. So what the concept of conservation is saying is that as you are trying to generate your own revenue today, meet your own need today, you should not compromise the needs of future generations. So this is a very, very big issue at the global stage. In fact, there is a body called GRI, Global Reporting Initiative. So it is an international NGO that is basically responsible for monitoring this sustainability reporting standard practice. Although this thing is still not yet very popular in Nigeria, but it's something that you need to watch out for in the future. Okay, it is a very big deal in the future because there is a standard for sustainability. Actually, the objective is just to ensure that an entity operates in a responsible manner. An entity operates in a responsible manner. In the price of them trying to generate their own revenue, they should not deplete the future resources. Okay, so that is just what you. So you have a whole lot to read here. What I'm doing basically is to summarize each of these things. Then you can read them in details if you are interested, right? But the key points I am summarizing, there are those areas that will likely be tested in your exam. But please still create time to read the entire pack so that you can have a better understanding of what sustainability reporting is all about. All right, so the third one is integrated reporting. So this is integrated reporting. So what is integrated reporting is all about is just a way of you trying to communicate your strategy, okay? Your strategies, your governance, your performance, prospect in the short, medium, and long term. So this one is when an organization is trying to communicate its strategies, its governance, its performance, and prospect in the short, medium, and long term. So you're trying to share your plan, how you are going to achieve a particular task in the short run, medium, and long term. So that is exactly what integrated report is all about. So it is a concise communication. That means you are communicating it in a clear terms about how an organization's strategy, governance, performance, and prospects in the context of its external environment lead to creation of value in the short, medium, and long term. So whatever strategies that you have adopted now, how those strategies will result into value creation, both in the short, medium, and long terms. That is exactly what integrated report is all about. So it's all about when you're trying to communicate those strategies, principle, governance, or performance, okay, in the context of your environment, external environment, how they will lead to value creation in the short, medium, and long time. So that is exactly what integrated reporting is all about. So there is a body called IIRC. That's the International Integrated Reporting Council. International Integrated Reporting Council. So this body, they define some of the principles or some of the objective or what you are expected to have in your integrated reporting. Some of them objective is number one, to improve the quality. Somebody want to join? So one of the objectives is to improve the quality of information available to provider of financial capital. So that's basic first thing. So when a banker review your integrated reporting, they will be able to understand your strategies, how your strategies will result into value creation in the short, medium, and long term, right? They will be able to understand through your integrated reporting. Then also, it also promotes a more cohesive and efficient approach to corporate reporting, and it enhances accountability and stewardship. It also supports integrated thinking, decision-making, and action that focus on the creation of value over the short, medium, and long time. So these are some of the issues that we have under the IIRC. That's the International Integrated Reporting Council. Okay. So these are some of the content of integrated reporting. So all these questions that are here, those are those things that a good integrated report should answer. The first one is, what does the organization do, and what are the circumstances under which it operates? So this question, you should be able to answer it in the integrated report. Then the first one is, how does the organization's governance structure support its ability to create value in the short, medium, and long term? So these questions too should be answered in your integrated report. Then what is the organization's business model? So these and many more. So I can ask you to list 5 of all these content of integrated reports. So please feel free to list any of these 5. There are about, I think about 7 or 8, right? So please feel free to get used to at least 5 of them. Maximum they can ask you to list is 5. Okay, what are those content of integrated reporting? They will that's the question. So your own is to pick any of these 5 and list it. Okay. So that's just what the integrated report is all about. So I hope I've been able to explain the concept of the corporate social responsibility, also the content of the report itself. I hope I've been able to explain the meaning of sustainability and sustainability reporting, and also the integrated report. So like I told you, tonight's class is just a very short class. So let me stop recording. I'm done with this lecture. All right. So it's just a very short class for you to understand.